howdy there, folks. Buck Jacuzzi here, broadcasting live from the only hot tub with a law degree and a six-pack of irony. Now, I don't usually get riled up till my bubbles hit a boil, but this one turned the jets to high. Seems old Judge Beryl Howell just handed Donald J. Trump a legal spanking so thorough, his ego's gonna need physical therapy. We're talking about a 101-page ruling that slapped harder than a church grandma catching you lying about Bible study. Now, I know what you're thinking. What did he do this time, Buck? Well, let me set the scene. Trump, being Trump, thought he could weaponize the White House like a toddler with a garden hose. He issued an executive order going after the law firm Perkins Coie. Why? 'Cause they had the audacity to represent folks he don't like. Hillary Clinton, Democrats, democracy, take your pick. So Trump yanks their security clearances, bans them from federal buildings, and tells the whole executive branch to stop doing business with them. That's right, folks. He tried to blacklist a law firm like it was the McCarthy era, but with worse hair and a Truth Social account. Now enter Judge Howell, who's got more backbone than a rib joint. She looked at that executive order and said, and I'm paraphrasing here, this ain't just unconstitutional. This is petty, paranoid, and dumber than a bull trying to tango.
Friday, another federal judge blocked Trump's executive order targeting law firm Perkins Coie, calling the president's efforts, quote, an unprecedented attack on the U.S. judicial system and, quote, unconstitutional.
Judge Howell didn't just smack down Trump's order. She roasted the whole shady operation like a pig at a 4th of July potluck. Called it an attack on the independence of the legal profession. Said Trump's whole game was retaliation, pure and simple. She even quoted Shakespeare, let's kill all the lawyers, and said Trump took that line way too literal. Except his version was, let's kill the lawyers I don't like. Now hold up right there, cowpokes. Before we go any deeper into this legal rodeo, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I promise more hot takes than a Waffle House at 3 a.m. All right, back to the soak. See, Howell didn't stop at the Constitution. She went full Founding Fathers on him. Cited John Adams defending British soldiers after the Boston Massacre. She even pulled Alexander de Tocqueville out of the historical holster, reminding us that democracy is only as strong as the lawyers standing up to power.
I think the orders where all judges have said, the law firm orders, there are 4 executive orders that have all been struck down by the courts, left and right, so to speak. I don't think if the administration's smart, they're going to take that to the Supreme Court, because that will end this. I mean, I think they will lose. And right now, they're doing pretty well on just the sort of fear factor and the terrorizing effect of the executive orders. Even though they keep on being struck down unanimously, every single court has said they're unconstitutional.
Meanwhile, what's Trump doing? Bragging about law firms paying him off. Firms like Paul Weiss and Skadden Arps shelling out millions just to stay on the good side of Pope MAGA himself. That's right. He posted a picture calling himself Pope Trump. Y'all, at this point, he's not just breaking the Constitution. He's writing fan fiction on it. Judge Howell saw right through it. Called out these firms for folding like lawn chairs at a tornado drill. Said they didn't just settle. They compromised their ethics and left their clients wondering whose side they're really on. And just in case anyone missed it, she dropped the mic in footnote 3. That's right. She hid the body in a footnote, folks. Savage. She laid it out clear as creek water. If you're a law firm and you bow down to a wannabe dictator, you ain't protecting your clients. You're protecting your reputation. And the courts ain't got time for cowards in $1,000 suits. Perkins Coie, though, they fought. They brought the case. And Judge Howell said, you know what? Y'all are right. She granted him summary judgment and a permanent injunction. No trial needed, no long court battle. Trump's order, dead. And just in case some appeals judge's fingers hovering over the undo button, good luck. Howell's opinion is tighter than a drum and sharper than Ivanka's side eye at a family reunion.
I'm just wondering, at what point do we get to a true constitutional crisis? And I know we keep talking about that, but I'm sitting here, the Supreme Court said facilitate the return of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, and yet he's still not back.
That's right. So, this is the question so many of us are debating. And I will say that a month ago, my view was we weren't at a true crisis until you had outright defiance of a clear judicial ruling. The problem is what the Trump administration is doing is everything's a little squishy, right? They're trying to introduce ambiguity into terms like facilitate. They're trying to introduce ambiguity into Judge Boasberg's order, turn the planes around, right? And say, well, we were over international airspace by that point in time. And so they're not going into the judges and saying, we think your order is unlawful and we're not going to comply. Then, we'd be at that complete loggerheads. And I think the courts, at least the Supreme Court, not so much the lower courts. The lower courts have clearly had it. They're being very clear. They feel like they're being lied to, and I think sometimes they are, not necessarily intentionally by the attorneys in front of them, but because the attorneys in front of them don't have the information they need to answer the judge's questions. But I think the Supreme Court has kind of allowed some of that squishiness by being less than crystal clear in its orders, and it's time for it. And I think partly that was intentional so that they could leave some time for the push-pull and hope that the administration would sort of do the right thing. But it's hard not to say we're not already in crisis point when I'm talking about it for, several minutes to try to explain the answer to that question.
Right.
This ain't just a win for Perkins. It's a message to every lawyer in this country. You don't fold to fear. You don't let a two-bit authoritarian with a grudge and a marker-signing fetish tell you who you can represent. That ain't America. That's a reality show with bad lighting. So here's to Judge Howell, one of the last honest cowpokes left in the legal Wild West. She stood tall, swung the gavel, and said what we're all thinking. Facts still matter. And if you're a lawyer worried about Trump's feelings, maybe law school wasn't the right trail for you. Now, if y'all enjoyed that soak, go ahead and like this video, hit your right on the subscribe button, and stay tuned for more hot tub hot takes. Till next time, this is Buck Jacuzzi reminding you, the Constitution ain't optional and tyranny don't float. Y'all stay warm now.